Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Deep Threats Podcast. I hope everybody's out there today and watching live. As always, we are going to get into this today and talk a little bit of football. But first things first, Wheels is not here today. He's a little bit under the weather. I think he got what I had earlier this week. Dealing with it sucks, and I know a lot of people are dealing with it. So giving you guys that heads up right now. Hopefully Wheels is in the chat here eventually, and I hope he's doing all right. That being said, obviously, you have Thursday Night Football tonight. You have the Buffalo Bills going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be a fun night. I'm sure of it. We're gonna see how this one goes, to be honest with you, because I'm a little bit questioning what's been going on in the NFL with the way these games have been going. But I know that based on the way Baker's been playing, he's had his ups and downs, and like a lot of people like to talk about the Baker cycle. And then on top of that, you have Josh Allen, who has not had a last few good games. So, I mean, you had the Jacksonville game where it didn't go as they planned, and then you go up against the Patriots, and the Patriots took away Stephon Diggs, and they had no other offense. So it's going to be interesting seeing what's going to happen tonight. I actually forgot to check to see where this was at. I'm going to assume it's in Tampa Bay, but no, it's my first day. So I'm going to try to find it really quick, but obviously, nothing's easy to find when you want it. It looks like it's in Buffalo. There's a fly in my face. These flies are killing me still. It looks like it's in Buffalo. Oh, I think I got it. Sorry, guys. I don't want tickets. Don't give me tickets. That's it. I'm done. All right, let's go. Matchups. It is in Buffalo. All right. So that being said, obviously Buffalo's favored a little bit. Actually, it's a lot. 9.5. It's kind of crazy because I was just doing a whole bunch of stats here on this game tonight, and when I was looking at it, I'll ramble off some things for you today because I want to have a little conversation after I talk about this game and see who's all out there. And maybe you guys are out there in the chat, maybe not, because I think it's kind of funny to have the AFC, NFC conversation today based on what's been going around the league and then what happened with the Ravens and the Detroit Lions this week. Because there's a lot there that I think we need to talk about, and whether or not Detroit's the real deal or whether or not it's an AFC, NFC argument. But first things first, I got Baker going tonight somewhere around 225 to 270 yards. I don't know if he's playing. I did see that he is questionable. This one's kind of got me for a loop. If he's questionable and he's out, is Kyle Trask going to step in and they're not going to lose a step? or is Baker going to play through injury? Based on previous history, I would say Baker is going to play through injury. Outside of that, I don't know what else is going to happen, because I'm going to tell you right now, Baker has a history of playing through injury. It's up to you guys what you think he's going to do, to be honest with you. But if he does play, I think he's capped at 270 yards. Then I got him rushing for maybe about 10 yards. Baker doesn't really rush much. It's more of a, if the play breaks down, try to get that first down. I see him throwing for, it's funny because I can't give him 2 touchdowns. I'm struggling, so I got him at 1.5 touchdowns. So if you had to bet on him to throw for 1.5 touchdowns and you need to bet the over, that one scares me a little bit, especially with the Buffalo Bills defense. The Buffalo Bills defense is arguably sacks. They're number 2 in the league with sacks, and then when it comes to takeaways, Buffalo's number 2 in the league. They're number 3 in the league for points per game, or number 5 in the league for points per game allowed. Buffalo is just all over when it comes to the defense. You know, it is a little bit older. They are playing pretty well, but I'll tell you right now, based on the injury report that I just saw, there's not a lot of injuries. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver, toe injury, questionable. I think he's going to play. It'll all depend. The only person that I see out, and they just put him on the IR, I think yesterday, was Dalton Kincaid. So you got, not Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Dalton Kincaid is in for Dawson Knox full time. So that's the only person I really see truly out, is Dawson Knox. Outside of that, Buccaneers are missing an offensive lineman and a safety. So Merriweather, good safety, but it's not Antoine. So that being said, Chris Godwin is also questionable tonight with a neck injury. That one's kind of throwing me for a loop, because I'm not sure what's going to happen in the team there, because I actually like Chris Godwin tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen. So the next player up would be probably Trey Palmer. And Trey Palmer's not bad. Him and Baker haven't really had a connection this year. He has yet to catch over 2 passes in a game for Baker. So, I mean, you can look at that how it is. I think if Chris Godwin's not there, Baker starts to lean on Kate Otten and leans a little bit more on his other tight end, Payne Durham and Kieft, sorry. So that being said, Mike Evans I got tonight if Baker's in, and a lot of this is dependent on if Baker's in, right? Is Baker in? Again, Baker plays through injury, whether it hurts the team or helps the team. The question is the coach going to let that happen? That's the question. I got Mike Evans, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Rashad White, 15 attempts, 52 yards, 4 targets for 10 yards, no touchdowns for him. Godwin, I actually had having a good day if everything was going well. 8 targets, 7 receptions, 80 yards. And then Kate Otten, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Now, there are other yardage. If I have Baker for 225, 270, there's other guys out there, just short yardage guys. But these are the most notable guys for me. So, points. And then moving on to, Buffalo. What I got going on for Buffalo is I got Josh Allen, 38 attempts, 29 completions, 275 to 290 yards. That's kind of where I see him. He is playing against Tampa Bay. It's probably the second best, maybe the third best defense he's played all year. He has played the Jets, and he struggled in that game. So 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions I got him for. 5 rushing yards, or 5 rushes for 25 yards, which is actually probably fairly high for him this year, and 1 touchdown. So, I mean, Josh Allen obviously is startable. Can't argue with that one. You have to start him. And then I got Diggs, 12 targets, 10 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown. It's actually a season high for Diggs. So I'm kind of shocking myself with this one because I don't like to predict stuff like that. But I do have Diggs going for a season high against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just see a huge bounce back game for Josh Allen, and I know he's still going to turn over the ball, but I think they're going to push a lot harder than they did, and the OC has to really help him out. James Cook, I got 15 attempts for 75 yards, a TD, 2 targets, 2 receptions for 20 yards. Solid start today, I think. I think James Cook's going to be consistent. Tampa Bay gives up an average of like 95 rushing yards, which I think is like top 10 in the league in rushing. And then you have they give up like 280 or 200. I think it was 260 passing yards a game. I think somewhere around there. Actually, I think I have it right here. We're talking Tampa. 246 passing yards a game. So I see Josh Allen surpassing that tonight. And then I have Gabe Davis, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 78 yards. I don't see a touchdown for Gabe. I actually see this game going through Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid has been almost perfect on the year. I know it sounds crazy, but he's only dropped 2 passes all year long. I see Dalton Kincaid equaling those 2 drops today, but I see 10 targets, 8 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. I think this is Dalton Kincaid's time to shine. Obviously, his coming out party was last week because Dawson Knox went down. But in reality, I would say tonight's the night where you see Dalton Kincaid kind of show up and show his ability to be a slot receiver / outside threat or downfield threat here and there. He's a very good route runner, solid hands, and it's proven. I mean, you can kind of see it in the NFL. Even though Dawson Knox is there, Dalton Kincaid has still been consistent since the start of the year. So I think if you have Dalton Kincaid, I think Dalton Kincaid is a definite stardom. Diggs, Mike Evans, Josh Allen. I even think James Cook's a solid stardom this week for this team. Both these defenses are very solid defenses around the board when you're looking at them. Buffalo offensively has been like one of the top 5 offenses in the league, and a lot of people disagree with me on this. But when you're looking at Buffalo, yards per game, they're number 5, QBR, number 5. Third down conversions, number 3. So they're constantly converting the ball on third down. They're not good in time of possession. I still think they're in a positive time of possession. And then when you look at points per game, they're number 3 in the league. So Buffalo's putting up points. And to be honest, the skewed number 1 is Miami, just because, Miami put up that 70-point game. I think a lot of that balances out if you look at what Miami's done since then. So it'll be a good question to have out there. But I will. So it's funny because I did say that I had Josh Allen throwing 2, running 1, and then I have James Cook running 1. So I have 4 touchdowns for them, and then I have 2 field goals for each team. So my score is coming out to 34-20, but I kind of see it within a 1-score game, so I'm going to give Tampa Bay an extra touchdown. I just don't know who's going to get it. It might be one of those ones where, like, you might see Chase Edmonds do something crazy in this game, or you might see who's their third receiver over there. I wish I had somebody here to chit-chat with for a little bit, but you might see a little bit of actually, it might be one where Trey Palmer gets one in this game. He might have 3 or 4 receptions for 40 yards and a touchdown. So it might be a solid like sleeper pick in this game, especially if Chris Godwin's out. If Chris Godwin's out, I definitely like Trey Palmer as a solid number 2. He's a good receiver. It's going to be exciting to see what he's capable of in the NFL, to be honest with you. I don't know, like they got Raheem Jarrett. I mean, they got young receivers. I didn't realize that they had 2 rookies starting this year. That is kind of crazy. I was going to say, that's weird. No, it's Chris Godwin. Man, that is so crazy. I didn't even realize Trey Palmer was a rookie. I don't know why I didn't realize that. I'm kind of mind blown. As much as I've been watching football this year, I didn't realize that. It could be the one where, like, also Rachaad White gets the rushing touchdown. I just didn't see it. They get in the red zone, and finally Rachaad White pushes one in. Hasn't been his MO for the year, so I just don't see it. Rachaad White only has 1 rushing touchdown on the year. So even with all the attempts he's gotten, I mean, he's rushing the ball anywhere from 14 to 17 times a game. So it'll be one of those ones where, like, Rashad White, I mean, it's 3rd and, 5, and then they run a quick read option and, pitch it out to Rashad, and he's in. And that's very possible in this game tonight. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a majorly defensive game, but I still think both teams are going to put up some points, especially with what happened to the Buffalo Bills after that last game against the Patriots. I know they weren't fans of that. I called it. I didn't call the loss. I still think Buffalo would win that game, but I did say that, they keep Diggs under 80 yards, and they did just that. Diggs got a touchdown. Same thing with Tyreek, but Tyreek had 40. Diggs had 56 yards and a touchdown. So it's kind of funny. If you're looking at what Belichick's been capable of doing, he really knows how to take away that number one option for you, whether it be the running back, the quarterback, or the wide receiver. So Belichick still, to me, is one of the best coaches in the history of football. Even with what he has, the pieces out there. I mean, you're not going out there outside of, was it J.C. Jackson? You're not naming another corner on that team probably off the top of your head. A lot of young guys out there in that team because they lost their one corner to the IR. I want to say it was Christian Gonzalez. They lost to the IR. So we were huge fans of him, which kind of sucks. So yeah, I see Buffalo winning this game 34-27. It'll be, like I said, it'll be within one score, I think, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal. But that being said, I wanted to have this conversation with everybody out there today. When you're looking at some of the best teams in the NFL, it's kind of crazy because obviously Miami and Kansas City are kind of like the favorites in the AFC, and then Philly and the 49ers are the favorites in the NFC. But when you're looking at what's going on with Brock Purdy, who also might be going under concussion protocol, it might be Sam Darnold's week to start. This is for all you guys out there that might be starting Brock Purdy, because there was a huge hit that happened where Brock Purdy was trying to get the extra yard and he got blasted in the helmet. And when I saw this hit, I am shocked he didn't get pulled out of the game. He was showing signs of a concussion when he was flying back to San Francisco, and they put him under concussion protocol. I don't like saying anything, but I've said this multiple times that the 49ers quarterbacks are built from glass. So I've been liking Brock Purdy this year. I thought he was able to take some hits, but after the Browns game and then going into Minnesota, they're trending down. They're trending down. Debo's out till week 10. CMC's dealing with an abdominal injury and a hip injury. That team is trending down right now. Sam Darnold might be able to bring some life into that team, but I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't seen Sam Darnold not see ghosts on that field. So I'm worried that Sam Darnold's going to increase their turnover ratio from what it was at that Minnesota game, because Minnesota had two interceptions in the fourth quarter on Brock Purdy. So primetime Brock Purdy and primetime Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kurt won that one. That's for all you guys out there who think Kirk Thuggins is not capable of playing in primetime. They're not getting rid of him, man. They're not getting rid of Kirk. They can't do it. Addison looked great. If Kirk continues to do what he's doing with Addison and JJ, and they just get a running back in place, that offense has been continuously productive. They just need to fix the defense, and the defense looked the best it's ever looked against the number 2 offense in the league in points. So it's kind of crazy to think about it. Minnesota might be on the rise. Detroit might be on the fall. Green Bay is kind of sticking there in that division, and Chicago's kind of hanging on. So that division's still kind of up for games, man. It's kind of crazy. This is for you guys out there. I don't know if you have any startums or sit-ums. I know you're not in chat right now. It's kind of obvious. I'd be talking to you guys if you were. Here's your matchups for this week. You got, Thursday night football. You had Tampa Bay going to Buffalo. And then you got LA at Dallas, Atlanta at the Titans. You got the Saints at the Colts. Patriots and Miami, Jets at the Giants, Jacksonville at the Steelers. That one's going to be probably one of the better games to watch this week, especially with Deontay Johnson back and, a healthy Kenny Pickett and healthy Pickens. That'll be a fun one to watch this week. You got the rematch of Philly and Washington. Washington lost that game in overtime. Last game is 34-31. You got Texans going to Carolina, 2 solid defenses, 2 rookie quarterbacks matching up against each other. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Definitely you'll see the difference between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young in this game. You got a powerhouse defense going into Seattle and trying to compete against the powerhouse second or wide receivers on that team, and then they have a solid run game on that team. I know they're dealing with some injuries in Seattle. You have the DK Metcalf injury. He stayed out last week. Kenneth Walker is kind of dealing with, I think, a calf injury. I don't think it'll keep him out of this game. I think he's going to play. Charbonnet should be coming back, I think. I think he had a slight ankle tweak from the previous game. Browns, Kareem Hunt. No changing news on running backs. It's Kareem Hunt, Pierre Strong. I think they did pick up Deion Jackson from the Colts. So Deion Jackson is also on the running back squad. He should get promoted from the practice squad this week. And then you have Kansas City going into Denver. That game is always contentious. I don't know why Kansas City plays to the level of that team. It's consistent. It happens every year. But they haven't lost to Denver. So obviously that would be a gimme for that team. Baltimore going to Arizona. I think that's a gimme for Baltimore, to be honest with you. Even if Kyler Murray comes back. And to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to bring Kyler Murray back against Baltimore. That'd be stupid for Arizona. Chicago going to the Chargers. That'll be a fun one to watch, especially if Tyson Bagent's playing. I want to see this rookie quarterback give it another shot against a better defense. And to be honest, it should be interesting. Justin Herbert's been struggling without Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler hasn't looked like Austin Eckler since he's come back from that ankle injury. You got the Raiders going into Detroit. That should be a gimme to Detroit, but they have not looked too good. It'll be something intriguing to see. I would give that to Detroit, to be honest. Minnesota going into Green Bay. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm giving that to Minnesota. We'll talk about that later on Sunday. There's so many matchups to talk about. And then obviously I think the game of the week, if it's not Jacksonville Steelers, it's the Cincinnati Bengals with that healthy offense going into San Francisco with a rough around the edges defense and offense. It'll be a fun one to watch. So those are your matchups for this week. If you guys want to talk to me a little bit, hopefully Wheels will be back on Sunday. If he's not back on Sunday, I'm sure we'll have some conversations on Sunday morning. I know he'll probably be in the chat if he's not back. I think it'll be a long day Sunday just because of the simple fact that you're going to have, I think it's like 16 games to talk about because there's no bye weeks this week. For all you guys out there that you had the bye week blues last week, apparently no bye weeks this week. Thank you, NFL, for not having a week 8 bye week mid-season. All right. Get rid of the week 4 bye week and put it on week 8. What is wrong with the NFL? It's exhausting. It is exhausting to talk about bye weeks with the NFL. They just can't figure out how to make everybody's job a little bit better. I'm just sick of the NFL doing stupid shit. I know there's more to talk about. Jahmyr Gibbs looked good this week. He could be taking that role away from Montgomery, especially if Montgomery's coming back from this injury. It'll be a slow comeback the way Jahmyr's been playing. I know that Detroit needs to get a little healthier on defense. It'll be a fun one to talk about because I think you're going to see that beginning of the season start to mesh with the middle of the season where the teams you thought were powerhouses are starting to deal with that stamina factor. And then the teams that, came in slow are starting to find their fire towards midseason. And then that's where you find out if a team can continuously play from there on out. That's all I got for you guys today. I know it's a quiet Thursday. I know if you're going to take some prop bets, I kind of gave you them out there. You guys let me know what you like, and then we will talk to you guys on Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful week. Peace out, guys. Oh, don't forget, trade deadline is Halloween at 4 p.m. in the NFL. You will see some pieces move. So if you're hearing some rumblings about guys like D-Hop or Derrick Henry or even some defensive guys like Chase Young or offensive tackles out of Denver or Chicago, maybe keep an eye out there. It might change the way these rosters line up. But a lot of that's going to go down. It's probably going to end. You're going to see a lot of trade deals probably pop on Monday morning and Tuesday morning. So keep an eye out and keep we'll try to keep you up to date because we're going to do that Monday show. So we'll try to keep you up to date as possible for the trade deadline on October 31st, Halloween at 4 p.m. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Peace out.
Yeah.